So Demeo is already a smash hit, hitting both the Oculus Store and Steam in May of this year. I made a video back in October with Mo from Gen X Grown Up highlighting gameplay and detailing our thoughts on it, and was excited to play the latest expansion, Roots of Evil, since it was officially announced in November of this year. So the day finally arrived, Roots of Evil was released, and I installed it immediately. Let's take a look at what's new in Demeo Roots of Evil. So first up, we have a new map. Just look at this. It is gorgeous. Not only is it impressive visually, but it's a whole new take on Demeo's dungeon maps, placing you outside in nature, smack in the middle of a forest. Each map is peppered with cliffs, waterfalls, trees, doors made of vines, and leaves blowing everywhere. I always love zooming into Demeo, getting right up in there, and the developer did not disappoint. New to Roots of Evil update is the new character class, the Bard, and I'm not a classic tabletop role-playing gamer, so this was all new for me.
Loot up.
For the uninitiated, the Bard appears to be a mix of a field medic and a cheerleader, essentially boosting strength, defense, and morale along the way. If you're looking for strength, however, the Bard is just not for you. He seems best used as a supportive aid to the stronger classes like the Heavy and the Ranger. The Bard has a number of unique magic cards too. Hurricane Anthem, which summons a chaotic hurricane that moves at random. Song of Recovery, which recovers your party's health over time and cleanses all ailments.
Didn't know a song could do that, eh?
Courage Shanty, which is like a recycled card you get at every turn. It strengthens the courage of an ally in 3 phases, so you apply it once per turn, up to 3 turns on a player, boosting their defense, offense, and courage. And from what I can tell, a good Bard sticks closely to his party, leveling up each player using Courage Shanty, providing defense when possible, and only when cornered uses their melee attack.
My steel is ready.
Thankfully, the Bard moves quickly and you can usually stay out of harm's way. We're also introduced to a number of new monsters. The monsters I encountered were the Druid Archer, the Druid Houndmaster, the Brookmare, the Root Hound, and the Sigatar. Lastly, your character level no longer tops out at 45, but excitedly now 60, with awards like new character models, masks, bases for your minis, and new gloves as well. I had the good fortune of a first playthrough with my friends Virginia and Andrew, so here are our thoughts on Roots of Evil thus far.
Nice.
Ooh, I've got the worst case of VR face.
Oh no, I got VR face.
All right,
My head's just so shiny you can't see it.
All right, so first things first, what is your immediate, just real quick opinion of it?
I loved the graphics and like the woodland atmosphere. I like that there's something interesting and new about I would say goblins, but generally new opponents. So that's super fun, even if it's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing. I thought the graphics were stunning, and maybe it's just because it's a change of scenery, but it looked great. The new models for all the druids looked really well.
Sure.
Yeah.
And honestly, in seeing you play the Bard, just what it could be.
Right, because I was not living up to what the Bard could be. I'll tell you that right now. So let's talk about the Bard in the room. I see the value in the Bard, and the way you described what you thought the Bard is probably going to do is exactly what he was, where he enhances everyone. My problem with him, and it's the same problem I have with the mage, the wizard, the sorcerer, whatever you want to call him.
The mage, yeah.
Is that I never play the mage because I feel like the mage is a weak character, and unless you have a party of 4, it just seems like you're causing a problem for the other person you're playing with. The mage at least has a range attack, so he can back away and he can still damage. I felt that since I was not a range attack, I could do the job of buffing the two of you so that you had greater capabilities, but then I felt vulnerable. And then when I got attacked, it was all short range. There's a point where there are so many enemies that you can't run anywhere. So you're almost guaranteed to just get knocked down.
Yeah, you'd almost only need the Bard to be your 4th player. So if you have a Heavy, an Assassin, an Archer, and then the Bard, or the Magician, but not both.
Right. And then as Andrew had said at the end, we just didn't have any range.
Yeah.
And, and that became especially clear with Mother Sai. What the hell with the Root King or whatever the hell his name is, the Root Lord?
I think there's going to be more investigation needs to be done on how to defeat in what order, if there's a certain way, because we just got overrun with so many enemies at the end, from Mother Sai's ability. Like
there's 2 keys, but there's only 1 chest that I saw.
Right.
And
so you only need one key.
yeah, and so my guess, and completely a guess, is maybe the key that opens the chest is Mother Size, and that ends the game. But maybe with the Root Lord, you get his, but then you're still chased by her until you can get to it and unlock it. Unless there's another thing that we just, because we only saw like one half of that last board.
Sure.
Right.
Well, yeah, this is the first day. So hey, welcome to a new adventure, right?
So what did you think about the rain puddles? Did they seem to come to because remember, Andrew, we were reading about them and it said it caused 3 different issues.
Yeah, and they would spawn kind of randomly. Only on the 3rd level did we really see it get utilized because
Exactly.
she had a electric ranged attack that
Yes.
could do more damage.
Right.
But yeah, it's hard to, unless you're now the other side to that is the mage. His one zap, I think, is electric. So if you're on, or if you have a character on a spot that's wet, or they are wet, and you can hit them with that, then maybe that's more damage. So maybe that brings more viability to the mage in the game.
That makes complete sense.
It's a lot. I mean, a lot of these things because again, Demeo you can compare with D&D role playing games, whatever you want, and it is 100% true in the VR game as it is to pen and paper. You have to have the right party composition.
Yeah.
To do well.
That's a good question too. That like Greg and I both don't know like the pen and paper game or the dice game or whatever. So like, are we missing cues or keys to understanding?
No, not with Demeo. Demeo's a great game to get in, and because it's yes, it is kind of a card game. Yes, it's kind of D&D, but it's one of those that you can just get into and play.
Okay.
There's nothing you really need to know because you've got a computer controlling all the enemies. On the other side of a pen and paper, you've got a human controlling those enemies. They can choose to do something different. So there's not much you can glean other than the style, I think, from D&D to Demeo.
Okay.
Right.
It's interesting to have that insight, like somebody who's played like the actual D&D to understand the role of the character, I think is because I think that's what the Demeo developers are trying to portray is the role of that particular character.
Yeah.
So having your insight about the actual like dice game is helpful.
When you go and see Shrek and then everyone walks away happy because the kids had a good movie and there was a lot of like sexual double entendre innuendo things going on for the adults. I feel like the developers are having to play both sides of like, well, let's give half the game to the people that don't know what they're doing so that they enjoy themselves, and let's give half the game to the guys that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. Like, I'm glad I played the Bard. I'm glad I didn't switch to something else. But I definitely, just like the Mage, wouldn't choose the Bard if there's just going to be a couple of us playing. So Andrew, tell me, like, you were excited about the Bard and what it does, because you said you typically like to play that. Knowing that and seeing what the Bard is capable and not capable of, are you still excited to play the Bard, or it's just kind of tentative?
No, I would be excited to play the Bard. I've always, in a lot of my games and a lot of stuff I do, I've always been the support person. Think of it, a healer, ranged person is what I've tend to play in video games and pen and paper. And so, the Bard is super appealing to me. Yeah.
My problem here was that we got cornered at the end, so there was nowhere to move.
Yep.
And
we didn't have power.
That, and it had no defense.
Yeah.
Yep. And that may be a downside to the Bard itself.
Right.
The Bard is a squishy character. They aren't meant to have armor. They're not meant to be able to defend themselves very well.
Right.
So the developers seem like they're trying to be true to, a style or class of character.
Yeah, I think it's cool to obtain some of the terminology, and to understand like some of that transfer of how D&D goes into this game and whatnot.
But the beauty of Demeo is you don't have to know that to enjoy the game. Like,
you don't have to.
That's fantastic part, right?
It's nice to connect with other people.
All right, guys, thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Right now, let's go.
It's
12:30 in the morning. All right, get out of here. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
All right, later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.